This is Steven Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus AEW Dark Elevation. Sorry, Elevation. This is the second episode. I covered the first. I'm going to cover this one too. Good news, way less matches. We're talking 9 as opposed to 14. And a runtime that wasn't all that long. A little over an hour. I was able to tune into Raw soon after watching it. It's nice. It's nice. I think the show works much better. The jury is still out on the Big Show, aka Paul White commentary. A lot of people were really excited at first because he was kind of calling the action straight down the middle. Some things I find that he's doing is really good, and some things I'm not the biggest fan of. However, it is a work in progress. If I had to give a general note, I try to give one note per thing instead of just everything that I thought was wrong and needed to be improved. For Big Show, it's volume and diction, and picking one relevant thing to discuss per person, per match, as opposed to flooding us with a variety of facts. That just gets lost in the wash, but if you get across one notable idea, I think it's much more effective. Tony Schiavone, very good working with him, though. I think they're going to end up being just fine. We get to Raylin versus Te Conte. With -1. Remember how I grade these matches on Dark and Dark Elevation are as follows. 3 check marks for the squash matches, or the enhancement matches. 1 check mark for the enhancement talent, putting the person over in a proper way, meaning they give them a memorable finisher, etc. If the person who is winning looks really good in the process, that's a 2nd check mark. And then if the talent who is losing does a really good job in defeat, or if they're giving significant offense by the person who is beating them, then you get a 3rd check mark. The first show, I don't believe they check marked out, so we'll see if they can do that, if they can get 3 check marks up and down the line. And if there's a competitive match, and in this one they're announcing that there's 3 quote-unquote main events, so I'll do this. Whenever they say that something is a main event, I will grade it by a different standard, and the 3 checkmark system would go as follows. If both people manage to put on a decent match together, that's a check mark. 2nd check mark, if someone is put over in a memorable, distinct way. And then a 3rd check mark, if something notable is advanced, either an angle or a move or some kind of significant character development happens that can translate to Dynamite, the more significant and important flagship show for AEW, then I'll give you that 3rd check mark. Okay, Raylin against Te Conte. Raylin does a pretty good job here, but this is Te Conte's world. Te Conte is one of these people who looks really good in the process in more ways than one. She's very attractive, and I think her ring work is really stellar and kind of indicative of where they want AEW's women division to go. Sort of like good-looking submission wrestling and very hard strikes and just kind of an all-around game. And Te Conte definitely looks good here. 3 check marks. I think that hammerlock DDT is a good move for her to use as her impact finisher. 3 check marks, good looking all around, good start. So White is excited for the card. He really gets that across, and I think that that's a good way to be. Lee Johnson with Dustin Rhodes at ringside against Adam Priest. Adam Priest does a really good job here. I love that running chop that he did. A lot of good looking strikes. A lot of kicking out on one by the talent that aren't the enhancement talent. And you know what? I think that's a good precedent to set. Johnson ends up hitting his finisher, which they decided to call the brain dog. That's terrible. But Lee Johnson is your winner. 3 check marks. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I like this segment here. Dasha Gonzalez talking with Ryan Nemeth, asking him about Orange Cassidy, who's going to be taking on. He seems to be praising Cassidy, but then he says nothing disgusts or offends me more than Cassidy. Okay. Well, strong choices. You know, I'm always a fan of that. Next match, tag match, Fuego del Sol and Jane St. Patrick, both pretty good talents on the enhancement side, against the Varsity Blondes. The Varsity Blondes, their ring work is looking tighter and tighter, and I've criticized them in the past because I feel like their chemistry does not come across as genuine, just as two guys working together. Here, it's like getting there slowly, and the Varsity Blondes win, but they win virtue of the discus punch, they basically discus punch from Garrison for the win. So they don't do their tag team finisher. That's interesting to me. And Del Sol does hit his tornado DDT on Pillman. So they're beginning to have that convention where he hits that tornado DDT, but still manages to not score the win. That's interesting, but a good job all around. I really liked Del Sol, and his St. Patrick, I think, did a pretty good job here. 3 check marks. So far, so good, right? Castor comes to the ring and does his diss rap on Ryzen. I actually wrote it down because I thought it was pretty funny. Yo, Ryzen, you should get a different lame like butter because you're going down the drain. Your red hair got you looking like a maxi pad. It's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But gimmick's a gimmick. The match is really good. I think Ryzen is one of the guys that does a really good job here, and he's been thrown in these multi-person tag matches as of late, so it's nice to see him have a singles match of note. And Castor eventually goes up after that snap brain buster and hits the mic drop, which is his elbow drop for the win. Good, solid job. Ryzen always does really well here. 3 check marks. Now, one of my favorite regular features that they're going to do on the show, please keep doing these, the Rising Star vignette with Red Velvet. She's talking about her journey from boxer to dancer to wrestler. Super cool. Cody Rhodes notes that Red Velvet isn't signed yet and praises her work in AEW so far. She's not a fill-in. She's not a substitute. Red Velvet is going to matter in AEW. And a really good look for Red Velvet. I'm really glad. Red Velvet's somebody that I took to right away when she started showing up on Dark. Really glad to see her doing her thing. Next, a tag match between Leva Bates and Maddie Renkowski against Big Swole and Red Velvet. Definitely a foregone conclusion match, but what wasn't known is Bates ditching her partner, which I found interesting. So are they going to move into Leva Bates against Maddie Renkowski at some point? Good. A little bit of angle stuff, a little bit of plot stuff. I don't hate it. Red Velvet hits that shotgun drop kick for the win. That's the story. I think they were smart to let Big Swole get stuff in, but not do too much. This was definitely more about showing off Red Velvet. I think that was a smart move. 3 check marks here. Good job. And I'm happy that they're doing minor like angle stuff where Leva Bates ditches Renkowski. Maybe that's going to lead to a match between the two of them. Good deal. And after Big Swole and Red Velvet win, Jade Cargill, Vicky Guerrero, and Nyla Rose walk out and stare down Swole and Red Velvet, who are inviting them for a fight. One thing I didn't like was Swole and Red Velvet definitely did not take this seriously at all. I think they would have been better served sort of at least noting that, you know, the 2 scariest women in the division are here and they're together and they're calling us out. I'm not saying they have to act scared. I'm just saying that they have to, on some level, acknowledge that that's a big deal instead of playing it off. Swole has done this kind of thing in the past when Lance Archer was new and to AEW and everybody was doing the I'm scared of Lance Archer gimmick because he'll grab anybody and beat the shit out of them. Swole was one who always got in his face when she was standing in the crowd and acted like he was nothing, which I always thought was so terrible. And here I think they definitely did not play this right about Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose being with Vicky Guerrero. That should be at least a point of concern on some level and aggression as opposed to dismissing it. I thought that was a really bad way to play it. Dasha's backstage with Ethan Page. Ethan Page does not cut the greatest promo here. He does get across this. The only number that matters is in my win column. All right. Yeah, Pretty shitty promo. Pretty forgettable. But that's what AEW Dark and Dark Elevation are for, to try stuff out. Hopefully they'll do better next time. But they definitely need to. Ethan Page needs to do better next time. I need something to remember him by. And that promo stunk on ice. Next match, Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs against Team Taz, Hobbs and Starks. It's exactly how you think it should go, including Starks getting to hit the Rochambeau for the win, which is great. But it was exactly what it should have been, which was Hobbs and Starks whooping some ass after giving a little bit of offense up, and it worked for me. 3 check marks. So we got a 3 check mark night so far. Good deal, O'Neal. Danny Limelight against Baron Black. I wasn't 100% sure who was going to win this. In the end, it was Limelight, who has gotten wins before, so I guess that was not unexpected that he would win. Baron Black has been doing better and better and better. I really like that Manhattan drop, the backbreaker combination that Black does here and there. Just really solid work from both guys, really making the most of this opportunity. And Limelight catches Black in the rear naked choke, and Black taps out. Good deal. 3 check marks. I believe we are on our way to a 3 check mark night. Now we get one of the competitive matches, though not really. I mean, I think it's safe to say Orange Cassidy is going to win this one, but Orange Cassidy against Ryan Nemeth. They have a little interplay about Ryan trying to prevent Orange Cassidy from putting his hands in his pockets. That's the little story there. At the end of the day, he gets some offense in on Orange Cassidy, but Orange Cassidy eventually hits that neck break. He takes the neck breaker that Nemeth is trying to hit him with after hitting a rolling DDT, and then he puts him in the mousetrap and pins him. So it's one of these where they definitely had Nemeth look stronger throughout the match and then just look like he got caught in one of Orange Cassidy's clever pins to lose. So then Nemeth hits that reverse neck breaker. Chuck Taylor runs in, lands some punches on Nemeth. JD Drake runs out, and he takes out Taylor, providing Nemeth an assist. So we're setting up something for next week, perhaps, of Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor against JD Drake and Nemeth. And I don't hate it. And it's great to see JD Drake getting his props. 3 check marks. Ethan Page against Alan Angels. This is a big match, and they're both up to the occasion. Ethan Page, he can certainly wrestle, and they certainly do it here. Just little things they did. I love the waist lock, and I loved Alan Angels selling that. They kind of took their time when they needed to, and really, Alan Angels did a great job of making sure that Ethan Page looked really good here. He hits his finisher, the Ego's Edge, for the win. And then, post-match, calls out Justin Roberts for not handing the mic to him. Cuts another promo. This one's definitely better than the other one he cut. And then he says how he's going to be in AEW for a very long time. Good stuff here. 3 check marks. Certainly like the post-match promo more than I did the one earlier from Ethan Page. And then finally, I believe finally, maybe not finally, I shouldn't say that. I should look at my notes to make sure I'm right. Yes. No. Yes, no, yes, I'm right. And then our last match, which is a cool way to end it, in my opinion, the newly signed Layla Hirsch against Mizunami. Really good look here. Mizunami really gets to show off her stuff, and the rope pulling thing here gets broken up by Layla Hirsch, so I don't hate it nearly as much. Really good stuff here. They're both showing their personalities. Layla Hirsch definitely got to get her stuff in. At one point, she got a great deal of offense, including a German suplex, which looked really good. After the Frankensteiner and a knee strike and a German, I mean, Layla with a flying triangle. So they really were going out of their way for Layla to get her stuff in. But at the end, Ryo catches her in the Anaconda Vice, fully locking it in, and Layla taps out. Good match. 3 check marks. Guess what? Second episode, 3 check marks all the way around. Our developmental talent of the night. I thought Baron Black did a particularly good job, honestly. Just really stellar stuff. And Ryzen did a great job with Max Castor. So I'll let them share those honors. I would give it to Layla Hirsch, but that's supposed to be a competitive match, even though the foregone conclusion was pretty obvious. In any case, good night, and a great second episode, in my opinion. This has been Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus AEW Dark Elevation.